Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I told you would hear back from me pretty soon, didn't I? I bet you weren't expecting to get two helpings of me this week. It's more than you've had in the past 2 months. Anyway, good evening. I hope you're all doing well. It's Conor. I'm back doing a wee version of the Blether this Sunday evening just to get you a wee bit of the Bhoycie Bus fix because I know you guys can't get enough. I'm joined by my lovely co-star, Canada's favourite Tim, Liam, the Punk Duck Warlord. How you doing tonight, mate? Are you alright?
Aye, doing brilliant. Had a great day yesterday. 7 o'clock kickoff. Got to walk home in the sun. It was brilliant. Great day yesterday watching the game. Oh.
Excellent. Now, before we get stuck into all the juicy bits of the last game and what's going to be going on, the next week, you guys can become a Bhoycie Bus member for the low fee of $1.99 a month. Totally optional fee. Up to you guys if you want to do it. Show some support to the channel. Totally optional. You don't have to do it. We just appreciate it. If you do, show a bit of love and support. We're also happy to say that we're sponsored. Don't know that direction. Up in the corner by piesports.com. So you can use the code BUS1888 on the website piesports.com if you want to get 12.5% off your order. So remember, use that discount code in the checkout and you can then get money off your order. Right, let's get stuck into it. We were treated with an absolute feast of football this weekend, mainly to do with Celtic, in which we absolutely battered Ross County 5-0. The scorers on the team sheet were Liam Scales, Luke McCowan, Callum McGregor, Paulo Bernardo, and Adam Idah. Probably got that in the wrong order, but it doesn't really matter. So, I hope you all enjoyed a bit of fresh venison at the weekend as we tucked in and feasted on the Staggies. How did you enjoy the game, Liam? You were actually incredibly spot on with some of the changes that were made at the start, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And how did you enjoy the game, mate?
Mate, if you go back and look at the Friday feeling, I've had quite a few predictions right this year, and they've all been on the large side. And I thought that's what we talked about. That was about Celtic coming out, Connor, and just showing intent that okay, you know what? Let's pick up from where we left off. This is us back in Scotland, and that looked every bit of what we wanted to see. Guys taking advantage of chances. Here's your opportunity. Go out and smash it. And every single one of the boys that was on that park that came, that was one of the sub players or backup players, given that chance, I thought they came out and they performed brilliantly. It was a joy to watch. I really enjoyed it.
I agree, mate. I had a brilliant time as well. I'm having a brilliant weekend, actually. We got to watch Celtic win that yesterday, and actually met a Celtic legend today in work. I bumped into one Lubel Moravchik in my work today. Met him with his wife. Asked him for a picture. Absolutely lovely guy. Couldn't have been, nicer and more accommodating. So just a wee shout out there. Honestly, I've met more football players in the last year at my work than I have in my entire life. So fair to say I've had a good weekend. But we'll talk about some of the changes first, and we'll see. We're spot on with actually, I think, all of the changes, bar maybe Forrest for Kuhn. So the first one, and we'll start off with this one because I know you'll enjoy this one probably the most, is Alex Valle started ahead of Greg Taylor at left back position. And I think it's fair to say, because there was obviously all that speculation around about where him going back to Barcelona. That's been kiboshed in the media. That's been said, nah, it's not happening. He's staying at Celtic for now. Whether that continues to be the case, because Barcelona's left back has actually just picked up an injury, so he's going to be out for a while. So hopefully this doesn't come back to bite us. But I think looking, at the way it was, and granted, the way we're going to talk about this, we're also going to be positive and, complimentary towards our performance. Granted, Ross County aren't exactly, the best standard of opposition to be singing the praises against. This isn't like, a Champions League night and stuff like that, but you can only play what you're up against, and you can only perform how you want to perform. I mean, you can't win 5-0 every week unless you're Celtic. But, I think looking at it, at brass tacks, I think it's clear, that Alex Valle, I think in terms of going forward, defending, his link-up play, his touch, I think his physicality potentially as well. Like, I think he just looks better in all areas. I mean, to be totally honest, and it kind of, that's the thing I did notice was, like, it kind of does similar things that what Taylor does. Is like, he is more going up his side as opposed to coming to the middle of the park, but when he's in that final third, he does like to wander in a wee bit into those attacking phases, but he does it so much better than Taylor for me, and he doesn't seem like he's wandering a bit. He seems like he's in the right place at the right time where he needs to be there. And if the opposition decide to just come in a counter attack, he's also back there to defend. He's not halfway up the pitch looking around and going, "Oh, what's going on?" So, what did you make his performance, mate?
I think it's total football, Connor. I think what you're seeing is you're seeing balance in that position, and that balance has been able to. Greg Taylor's great when he's running forward and all that, but even when he runs forward, the way he runs out of position, he doesn't have the same intensity running back into that position. That tells you everything about him. He does not like to defend. He does not like being in that left back area. I'd go with Valley every game for right now, and then see if we have the potential to sign him. I think he's the closest ones that's come up that looks like Tierney in a way. That's got like a bit of like he's really got a drive to get in there and find space. He was unlucky not to score a goal. There was a very good block on a shot that he absolutely rifled for outside the 18-yard box. And I think if that had went in, that would be, you would have seen all the Tierney comparisons. But I think it's good. I even think he takes better throw-ins.
I mean, it's no difficult, all 5'3" of Greg Taylor to not, take absolutely amazing throw-ins. But he was also unlucky not to actually score as well. He was right through on goal, and
Aye.
The Ross County goalie actually made a good save. And I think Celtic overall were quite unlucky actually not to score more goals. Fast forward a wee bit, but in the second half, there was goals coming off the posts and off the bar, and the keeper making saves and stuff like that. So, obviously, Bhoycie and Terry talked about it yesterday. There is that eventual drop off in the second half, which can only be natural. But if the shots that were taken, the ones that came off the bar, were converted in, then we wouldn't be talking about necessarily a drop off, really. But we'll nip back to the first half. I keep jumping all over the place, sorry. But Valley for me, I think he's not cemented himself, because I know for a fact that when we play Aberdeen on Wednesday, Greg Taylor's going to be starting. And I know it. Despite we hope that common sense will prevail, and Alex Valle will start ahead of Greg Taylor. I think we both know that Greg Taylor more than likely will start, just because he's the elder statesman, as it were, in that position, and Alex Valle is a bit younger. It's not really the reasoning that should be getting used and Greg Taylor's previous accolades and stuff, but I feel like that is the only real applicable reason that Brendan Rodgers is picking him over Alex Valle. Unless it was, like we're saying, the stuff in the media, which has now been kind of quashed. Now that he's started a game, immediately after that's came out. But I didn't stop him starting games before, and they would have had their conversations with Barcelona about him going back before then. So I don't understand the logic, to be honest. But we'll move on now. So there was lots of changes made. Luke McCowan starts in midfield first of all, and it was an absolute masterclass from the young man in the midfield. He got 1 goal and 3 assists, almost a perfect rating as well. How good and how impressive has he been since he pulled on the shirt, mate?
I mean, if we'd have got him from Croatia or something like that, we'd all be looking at say that's our next big selling player. He does have that. He's got a burst in the middle of the park. There's 2 things he does really well. He's got a tenacity where he can get his leg in, and he makes tackles. But he makes good tackles when they need to be made, rather than lunging stuff and all that gets cards and fouls and all that in the middle of the park. He's able to anticipate the ball really, really well. So he's attacking that ball before it's getting to the player, or that he's still got the advantage, at that point. Creatively, I think he's what we need. I watched him yesterday, and I was watching some of the passes he was spraying about, but it was also the positioning that he was in himself. There was a couple of, I think it was Bernardo's goal. He made a very, very good run to take a number of players away from that danger, so that Bernardo was able to pop out with that wee bit of free space to swing it around. So I'm loving what he adds to the team. I always liked the moment when they signed him, for Dundee, that he was a Celtic boy. You could see how much it meant to him. And I don't think you can ever underestimate, having boys come through our team who are talented, that do have, a real Celtic connection,
Yeah, and that is something we love. It is kind of the romanticised, idealistic, version of a player coming in that we do love at Celtic. He's a Celtic fan growing up. It's his dream to play for us. He comes in, dons the hoops, and then goes on to impress. And it's kind of like the fairy tale story. And I hope it continues to be so, because I think he's deserved a lot more minutes than he has. And he's 3 starts, 3 goals already, and a couple of a good few assists as well. The numbers are there. The numbers back up the evidence. He's contributed more, arguably, this season, goals wise and possibly assist wise, than Engels and Hatate, who get picked week in, week out, and seem to start ahead of the likes of McCowan and Bernardo. And I know the conversation was happening, yesterday and throughout the week and that, about the reason why Hatate's in there. I don't subscribe to the train of thought that the judge has, that Hatate's shite. I do like Hatate. I don't think he's shite, but I don't think he's been, setting the header alight for a long while.
Conor, Mark was really early to see those flaws in Hatate's game as well, when the rest of us was, just loving the show, and the showtime aspect to it. I think what you're seeing, the difference between Hatate and Engels and, say, McCowan and Bernardo, is I think it's creativity versus technical ability. I look at Hatate as, I used to think he was going to be this gifted player, like is what San Fran's saying with Lucas, Modric and that. I think he's right. I think Luke is more like that type of player than I think what Hatate is, and I also think Bernardo is a much more creative player than which Arne Engels is. I mean, I see them both as technically gifted, and it depends what we need in that midfield. Where we need is like the wee man you met yesterday, Lubo, or we need somebody with a bit of technicality like Paul Lambert, and for both, that's the both sides of that now in their midfield.
I think it's a question of hunger as well. I think Engels and Hatate have they know what side their bread's buttered on, and they know that they're likely going to be starting each game, week in, week out, because that's the train of thought and the pattern that has preceded it. McCowan and Bernardo, every time they take the pitch, they look like they want to fucking do something. They look hungry. They look like they're chomping at the bit to try and get involved, and and that's even just not even when they're coming off the bench, just when they're starting as well, because they know the opportunities there for them to try and cement a place and try and make that jersey theirs. And it's what we love to say, competition. It's like we keep saying competition. All it does is breed good players, and it's healthy. Competition's healthy, especially at a club like Celtic. I know people say, "Oh, how are we going to get another striker now? How are we going to get another one this? And who's going to go here? And who's going to play there?" That doesn't matter. Good players will play. I know everybody's got their favourites. I know everybody's got who they want to see, where they want to see them, what position they want to play them in. In 5 years' time, the team's not going to look the same. And it'll be another crop of players who you love in those positions. Could be players that come in the next couple of years who come and take in the jerseys of the players who we think are irreplaceable. That's the point. The competition's there. It's the evolution of the football club. We have to bring guys in. The competition's got to be there. And the cream always rises to the top. That's, what the old adage is. The cream always rises to the top. So we go in with 2 goals to the good, which is then quickly preceded by a Paulo Bernardo goal. Now, yesterday, he looked so silky smooth. He was very, very impressive yesterday. And there's a lot of discussion, especially on social media and stuff like that, about why Bernardo doesn't get as many, starts and as many minutes as, somebody like Engels, somebody like Hatate. Well, you could argue that Bernardo deserves it more than an Engels, than a Hatate. Realistically, all you've seen is from Engels is he takes his set pieces and he scored a few penalties. He hasn't really got that many assists. He hasn't really scored that many goals. He hasn't scored a single one from open play. Hatate looks a bit flashy, looks a bit good on paper, tries the audacious pass, but you can count on one hand how many times they actually generally come off. 9 times out of 10 they come off domestically as well, when we go up against European opposition or opposition to a higher standard, they kind of fuck up. And what happens against Bruges? He tries to make that audacious pass. He fucks it up. He misplaces it. They then go up and score. And we were so lucky that their player was a ball here offside that got chopped off, and we proceeded to draw the game. Someone like Bernardo, who does the basics very, very well, but when he needs to turn on the flare, when he needs to try, the tricky, the 1-2s, the dribbling, nutmegs, whatever you want to do, he can do that as well. He does the basics very, very well. He's very composed. He's strong as well. I don't know how many times I've seen, a loose pass be made, an opposition player grabs onto it, and then out of nowhere, boom, Paulo Bernardo's latches onto it, wins the ball back. He's got that fight. He's got that hunger. And he was rewarded yesterday with a good goal. He also, whipped up. Was it him or was it? No, I'll probably forget. It was probably McKevin. He was good at set pieces as well, but for the scales header, I'm actually forgetting if it was McKevin or if it was Bernardo. But his set pieces as well look decent as well. They look arguably better than Engels' set pieces. Every time I see Arne Engels step up to take a corner, I just turn away before it's even took, because they're kind of powder puff. They don't look great. Guys like Bernardo, McCowan, their set pieces look better than his, and he's meant to be one of the set piece takers. That's his role, Engels. And Bernardo to me has every single right to kind of feel aggrieved at the lack of minutes he's getting, at the lack of, not trust per se, but the lack of, faith, I guess, kind of been showed him to give him more minutes to come on and make that impact. Yeah, remember last season before he signed permanently, I think it was the last 3 games we had against Rangers, the cup final, the one at Celtic Park, the one at Ibrox. Without Paulo Bernardo's contributions, we wouldn't have won any of those games. And it was down to him single-handedly. Paulo Bernardo had every single right to come in here and demand to get that first team spot, demand to be the starting midfielder. He hasn't been. Arne Engels just took his place, and he had every right to feel aggrieved. He hasn't. He stayed focused, he stayed humble, he's maintained his professionalism to the utmost degree, and when he's came in, he's done nothing but impress, and I fucking love it. How about you, mate?
I'm loving it as well, Connor. I think he's the one to watch. I've said that yesterday on the pod with Phil. I've really liked Paulo Bernardo. I think, as you see him develop physically and mature as a boy as well. See one difference in a year. He's starting to fill out a wee bit as well. When he fill out, he's going to be everywhere as lethal as a Louis Figo or somebody like that. I mean, he's just got that built into him. What I like is when he goes into tackles and he goes in and he goes like shoulder to shoulder, bang, goes in hard and does that thing where he drags the ball back and turns with it. I've seen him do that a number of times in tackles, and I like that sort of physicality. But I also like the fact that he can use that same wee drag back to change directions and do that wee bit of cleverness inside the box that changes direction. I think it was him for McGregor's goal, where what's the pass that he gives to McGregor? It's sort of like one of the things where you swivel on the ball of your foot and hit it with your heel. And it just sort of, and it went right to him. But it was just one of these things where he was just changing direction. And I think that sort of stuff, as soon as he gets confidence, he's going to be better and better. Scotland's the last bastion of ageism. Like, for some reason, I don't know why it is, but for Scottish League and the Scottish national team and guys like Ben Doak and, and the Paulo Bernardos and the conversation we just had with Greg Taylor, why are we holding on to these sort of things that there's some sort of lineage of years experience, years you have to put into something before you get your shot at that time. You look across the continent, there's teams like Barcelona, and there's been international teams and all that sort of stuff that I've seen, a 16-year-old or something like that and saying, you know what, he's starting. Fuck age, fuck this experience. Sorry, Greg, you're on the bench. Making hard decisions. And it looks like what do you call him? Stevie Clark's the same way. A bit of interesting, just going back, still talking about midfield for a sec, Connor. You think he deserves a call-up for Scotland, Luke McCowan?
Oh, 100%. He deserves more of a call-up than Conor Barron for Rangers.
Yeah.
The only reason that Conor Barron has been called up to the Scotland squad is because he plays with Rangers. And he's been one of the best out of a bad bunch at Rangers. That's it. He doesn't score goals. He doesn't assist. All he does is he nips in a couple of times here and there and collects the ball sometimes. Luke McKeown can do that. Luke McKeown's silking the ball. He knows where the back of the fucking net is, which is something that Scotland dearly miss, considering our midfielders seem to outscore our strikers in Scotland. What's the harm? He 100% deserves a call-up, and I think he will get a call-up for the next Scotland squad if he gets more minutes and continues to impress, which I have no doubt he will. I could see him coming on and, if we, I know we're going way ahead, if we beat Dinamo Zagreb, he starts against Young Boys. I would say he starts against Young Boys, for the following game, because he deserves it. He deserves it. Bernardo deserves a start in Champions League as well. It's the depth in the midfield is there, and it's like, it's good to see because there's no massive drop off there, and we've seen guys like Liam Scales come in, and the drop off, right? Granted, if you Carter Vickers to Liam Scales, or if you trust it to Liam Scales, there is a little bit there, but it's not gargantuan. The drop off last season, especially in defence, from who we had starting to who we had as backup, was fucking miles off. Now we've got guys coming in who, are arguably looking better than the ones who are getting picked to start and week in, week out, coming off the bench, coming on to get a start, every once in a while. And I'm saying, like I'm saying, it's good. I keep repeating the same thing over and over again. It's good. The competition's good. It's healthy. It's something that, we can all get behind. Like, if I could give you like a button now, right, that would make Callum McGregor, Bernardo, and Luke McKeown to be the starting midfield trio for majority of the games going forward, would you do it, aye or no?
In the recent future, yes, because I'm very much believe that if you're on form, sorry,
sorry, I'm getting there a cold as well, mate. It's bloody terrible there.
Oh, bloody COVID's going around.
Well, anyway, I would do it as well, okay? So, I just think that, I could be eating my words, right? And in a couple of months or a few weeks or something, they could end up dropping a stinker, they could score an OG or whatever the hell goes on, right? I can't predict, what's going to happen in the future. But all I can do is go off what I'm seeing currently. And what I'm seeing currently is impressing me so much that it kind of boggles my mind as to why guys like Hatate and Engels are getting starters over these guys. Granted, it was only against Ross County. But that doesn't paint the full picture because they've done it multiple times over the course of this season already when they've come in and they've impressed. So the arguments that some people may make saying, "Oh, it was only against Ross County," you can't, do that as the barometer. Look to what happened before. Look at their contributions before. Look at Paul and Bernardo's contributions last season. There was games last season where we needed him to come up big time. Remember a game up against Dundee? I think it was maybe was it Boxing Day or something like that? We were up playing Dundee and it was a really tight, stodgy game. We had to get him to break a deadlock, and he did it emphatically. So scored an absolute peachy volley against Rangers. Loved it. So, it's I think midfield. I think we've covered to death. I think it's it's brilliant going on. McKeown, Bernardo, sensational. We'll cover one more midfielder before moving on, just for a couple of minutes. Callum McGregor is having a goal of the season competition with Cell, man. He's the top scorer for Celtic, and he's the top scorer in the league now, I think, potentially as well. He's having some season. He's playing his best football he has since Brendan's first season. We thought he played good football under Ange, when he brought in that football. He stepped up now to a new level, and I keep saying it. My reasoning behind it is because he now does not have the stress physically, mentally, emotionally of having to play for Steve Clark Scotland every couple of months. What do you think, mate?
I think it's helped him. But I still think I don't know. I don't think he's had that great a season. I think he said games. I don't think he's had a proper season. There's a lot of games where he's disappeared or the timing is off. And I'll go back to my usual corner. I know I think give him a decent left back. get the defence sorted behind him. It's all on that left side. Get Hatate or Bernardo, whoever's going to be in there, get him so he's not overcompensating. Because I think Callum's a player that when there was a weak link in the team, he's very conscious of it, and he's always covering and moving in that direction. And that keeps him from doing the positive stuff like he did yesterday, where he's going up there, he's getting himself in positions, and he can score the big thunder bastard goals, as Phil likes to say. You know?
I know. And all of our midfielders this season, Barnaby and Goose and Hatate, are contributing goal-wise. You know, we all thought how the hell we're going to replace Matt O'Reilly. He's just kind of split off into three individual players. You know, McGregor, Engelsby's penalties, McCowan, Bernardo as well. You know, we're not really missing O'Reilly. We're not really missing his goals. You know, I think we're actually scored more goals now at this point in the season than we did during Brendan's first time round during the Invincible treble season. So, you know, the writing's on the wall there now that, you know, we're already absolutely fantastic, and we will continue to improve and hopefully just, you know, absolutely boss this league, which, you know, let's be honest, we're more than capable of doing, and we're more than capable. We're probably all predicting it at this point, let's be totally frank. Now, we'll move on to the big man up top. Idah comes in for a start, for his first start in a while. He also just goes, fuck this, bang, right in the back of the onion bag, and just decides, you know, to take it on and get his name on the team sheet, get his name on the score sheet, sorry, after seeing a few of the other changes get their name on the score sheet for that day. And, you know, I think he deserves it. I think yesterday, a lot of his, you know, granted, his first touch is never the best, but a lot of his link-up play, him dropping deep, you know, linking the play, having that physicality about him. The thing I notice is for a big, strong lad, he, you know, he's good at keeping the ball with his feet. Granted, he's not, he's not, you know, maybe the best technically, but I mean, his actual technical side is good for a big striker, and you know, he doesn't seem to lose the ball, and if he does, he's fast enough to go and pick it back up and stuff like that. So, what do you think about Idah now? Do you think this now is him with his goals before his goal on Saturday? Do you think this is now him kind of cementing himself saying, right, I knew I was a bit shit when I came in. I didn't have a pre-season. I kind of looked a bit stodgy. I kind of looked a wee bit, you know, behind the curve with everybody else. I wasn't on the same kind of wavelength. I wasn't on the same kind of level. Do you think now this is him? He's finally fully fit. Do you think this is him, like, kind of announcing himself now and saying, right, I'm here and I'm Kyogo, I'm coming for your jersey?
I don't know. I don't think he's. I think he's getting close, and we're seeing signs there. Yeah, I'm not convinced, Connor. I'm not convinced he's the right player for that centre forward. I think I think there's bits we've seen that we liked last year, and I was one of the ones that was clamouring to re-sign him as well. And again, take the money and stuff out of him. But I would have liked to have seen us look about and just have a broader choice of different strikers out there. I know we needed somebody that was a big target man, and I know he holds the ball up well, but he's doing all them just sort of like just like above average level. I'd like to see him start excelling that. I think they play for Celtic and they take advantage of the starts that he gets. He's got to show more in his performance, and that means doing what he did yesterday, because that's the expectations. So we need to see more of that. But I think there was other bits of the game. I think he was unlucky. There was a great header that he had. It was a glancing one of the ones that hit the crossbar that you mentioned earlier. I thought he was brilliant getting himself into position for that. And that's like, so either it's how we bring Adam Idah into the game or how he forces himself into the game. So yesterday was very much the ball coming to him, and he had a lot of success. When we struggle and we chase teams and he has to sort of make those opportunities himself, I think that's where we're better with guys like Kyogo and stuff like that. But he's developing. You know, I'd still like. I just hope we've still got the eyes open for another striker. You know, I think she'll always be improving, and there definitely is improvement. I don't want him to be our striker for the next 3 or 4 years. You know.
I can see your logic in that. I can see it. Do you think? I think there's a potential reality where we do go in for that third striking option in January. Potentially a younger understudy to the likes of Kyogo and Idah. But I think he was unlucky not to get a hat trick yesterday. To be totally honest, that pesky crossbar done him out. A potential hat trick, and you know I think then if those if those go into the back of the net, we'll potentially have a different conversation. You're
Aye.
maybe a wee bit more on side with him being that kind of answer because when's the last time a Celtic striker scored a hat trick? It's been like what, a season, 2 seasons since that happened. It's I you're kind of on the same wavelength because I have these conversations with my dad. My dad, he it was the same with Yakimakis. It's funny how the similarities are there. Big, strong, physical strikers who kind of second in the shadow of Kyogo, come in, loved by the fans, impressed here and there, but maybe seen by a lot of people as lesser than. He says that like he is not convinced by him one bit. He says he would never have went in the bottom in the first place, and he would never have paid Norwich the money for him. I would still say I can agree with him on that. I don't think he's worth the. Geez, what did we pay for him? What was it? £9 million or something like that. Something crazy. Like he's not worth that money. Let's be totally honest. But I think for what he does, he's an effective tool for you know kind of carving something out. If you want to put it in an analogy, Kyogo's the scalpel, he does the hammer to try and get into these defences and try and do damage. He's a player who I think, you know, is looks to the eye maybe a bit unfashionable, but I think if I swear to God, I can see it next season. He gets a full pre-season under his belt. He comes in and he wows the Celtic support and has people eating their words potentially. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I did say, before the season kicked off, that Lewis Palmer would have the season of his life this season. So, I think it's fair to say that my predictions, are not necessarily the best. So I wouldn't be putting your money on it, guys. But I do think that I don't know. I just see something in him. The potential's there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I had that good a day in the Scottish Cup final when he scored that goal, and I was absolutely at my tits and I had just great a day. I think maybe that's where my infatuation comes from. I have no idea, but I do think the potential is there for him to blossom into this. Fantastic forward for Celtic. We've always kind of had the the little and large kind of thing. We had the more silky guys like Larson, then we had the big guys like Hartson. But I'm not saying he's as good as John Hartson before anybody says it to me. But I think the potential's there. I mean, I'd quite be interested to see two of them play up top together. I know that's not the way we play. We probably will never see it for the foreseeable unless but I don't know, 5 goals to the good against Rangers in the cup final and in the first half, and then we bring Idah on to cause more damage. But then more than likely, it would just be a straight swap. But I think it'd be an interesting experiment to say the least. But yeah, I think I'm happy that Adam Idah got that goal, and I'm happy that he is now. Seems like he's settling in more. Seems like his confidence is getting there. His fitness, all of that seems to be coming together now, and hopefully he continues in this vein of form. And I think that potentially he could finish with double figures this season. At least I hope so. But moving on, I spent a lot more longer there talking about the game than the weekend than I probably should have, considering we have more pressing matters on our hands. The small matter of playing Aberdeen at Pittodrie on Wednesday now. This is a tasty affair, Liam, especially considering that they are meant to be our closest title challengers, and it seems like them and Rangers are completely crumbling. So today, I want to do this tonight as well because after we see the results kind of come in after the games earlier on today, we can kind of get a better view of where our opposition are as of next week. And like I was thinking, Aberdeen slipped up playing Hearts today away at Tynecastle. It was 1-1, and I went and had a wee look at their record. The the team that was matching Celtic's unbeaten record, earlier on in the season, who got that sensational draw at Celtic Park before then being quickly dusted aside 6-0 by Celtic a couple of weeks later. They have only won one out of their last 5 games, so that includes the game today. Do you think that Aberdeen now they're kind of falling away? Do you think that this is they've reached their peak, they're now hitting a bit of a plateau?
Aye, we might have broke them. It's their fault. We absolutely, that scudding that we gave them in the cup, I think has really affected their culture within the team and their confidence. They seem to have not had that sort of resolve to win games ugly and all that since they got that. I mean, if they were in that game, that might not have been affected to them, and it would just be a draw that goes on. But we absolutely annihilated them that day, and I think you're seeing that's affected them. Now, I don't know. Other teams might be figuring them out as well, Connor, because I said it before we played them last time. This is a physical team. The physical team and a dirty team at the back. Kicked your players out of the shop last couple of times that we've played against them. So I think teams might just be sort of figuring that out, and then, as you say, boxing a wee bit more clever against Aberdeen. I mean, you see that a lot of times that come up in the EPL and even Scotland as well. You get a team where you go through the cycle once, they do really, really well because they're doing something and it's different and it's catching you. The second time that they play that team, I think teams are getting a bit wiser into how they sort of play. Okay, so we are playing with a couple of big growlers at the back. Here's how we're going to do that. If you're playing on the counter and you got this sort of guy up front, we're going to counter that way. And I think that's just teams adapting to this style. I mean, I still want them to do well, but no crying of them losing a couple of points. I think they'll still end up ahead of Rangers because I think it's just momentum now. But yeah, they're in free fall, so I'm not really worried about Aberdeen. In fact, I think they'll be more shiting it for us and getting another hiding again. And it's because they're so soon after the last one.
Oh, you actually kind of covered my point already. That's what I was about to ask you. It was just like, obviously we gave them that, that 6-0 fucking drubbing. So you think that has had some sort of like this mental sway? We've spooked them. They look scared to kind of play Celtic because obviously, I think it's done like a lot of psychological damage as well. Do you think that, they're, now seeing, oh God, we're maybe no hot shit like what we were thinking, They were very unlucky. They had that boy that was a striker, that Papa Guay as well, who unfortunately got injured. But do you think now this is kind of like the maybe their luck's kind of running out, it's catching up with them? There's another team across the city whose luck is running out day by day. But do you think this is now time that Aberdeen's is kind of ran its race, or do you think that they could potentially come back into it and maybe challenge at all?
Hard to say. I mean, put it this way: Hibs and Hearts are too good of teams to both be bottom of the league. So they're going to have to start taking points for somebody. Their fans are not going to allow them to both get relegated again in the same year. I mean, at least one of them's they got to get out there before they're fighting with each other for relegation. So the points that they'll take teams off of are teams like Aberdeen. And so when they get, other teams will be clawing and struggling for points, and maybe a chance of them getting something off Aberdeen than us. So I think other teams will be gunning for Aberdeen as well. I think you'll see that in their performance. I think, I think they'll still do well and hold on, but yeah, I think more teams will start taking points off them.
Well, that's. I mean, to be honest, you're right, mate. I think that that's a potential, reality what you're saying. So we'll look forward a wee bit now. So predictions for the game. Would you make any changes? Would you change any of the personnel? Would you start the exact same team that started on Saturday there, or would you change everybody about? Who do you think will shine? Score predictions. Go for it, mate.
I'll get it all quickly, Connor. So I think the team that starts, I'd like to see, Schmeichel, Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers. I love Scales right now, but I like Trusty as well. I think I want to see Trusty come back into the team, see what he can do. Valley, and then in the midfield, I think it's Bernardo, McGregor, McCowan. You bring back Kuhn, bring back Kyogo, and get Idah out in the wing. And I think you just overpower them. And then we start with that team. And then I think that gives us an opportunity to bring on guys like Ingles and whoever you want to give a run out at that point. But I think if you play that team, I think that team's got the creativity, and I think that team's still got the desire to go out there and prove that they can do it against Aberdeen as well as the other guys. So I've got no problem with that team going on. And if that's this I would say we start with that team. I think we win 3-0.
Well, that's a good prediction as any, mate. I think I would be the exact same, although I've got the funny feeling that the midfield, Brendan's going to give one of the two boys that started a start on Wednesday, and I don't actually think it's going to be Luke McCowan. I don't know why. You know, 3 assists, 1 goal, a man of the match performance. That deserves a start as much as any, but I've got a very funny feeling that he's going to start Bernardo ahead of Engels, and it'll be Hatate and McGregor alongside him in that midfield position. I think that he's maybe got a little bit more evidence to suggest that Bernardo could start a game of this magnitude ahead of someone like McCowan. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's true, but I think going into what he's seen already and the stuff that happened last season, I think Brendan will more than likely pick Bernardo to start in that position ahead of someone like McCowan, and Engels will be dropped. But yeah, and I also think Kyogo will start up top. Get Kuhn back in, he's on fire. I'm glad he got a bit of a rest. He probably needs it. And Dyson will come back in to that left wing spot. Here's a question. No, you're probably no likely going to answer this one way or the other, because you're probably no like that. You're probably no as gallus as I am about predictions like this. But do you think that if Celtic go on Wednesday and do what me, and people in the chat, and guys on Twitter and all the rest of it are kind of predicting, and I see the potential reality of happening, giving Aberdeen another hiding, do you think the league's done then by that point? Because I think it will be.
Yeah, I think so. In my mind, I think it's at the point where we can relax. You know what I mean? I think you can relax that even if it's a hiccup and all that, we can still tweak and do whatever we need to do. I mean, fucking December 1st, Conor. But I think it is. I don't think they've got the drive to claw back 14 points. And it's happened before. We've done it. But I don't think Clement's got that team to do that. And we've spooked them, and they'll do well. Their big games will be in Europe, but when it comes to us, their players don't perform.
Very, very true.
Ask that question after the next game at Ibrox, Conor. And after, if it's
Mate,
after,
it doesn't, mate. The league's. I personally think the league's already wrapped up, right? I'll just have my 2 cents on it. I think the league's already wrapped up. What is happening is what I predicted would happen. Rangers will continue to be shite. Today they got through there by the absolute skin of their teeth, an own goal. I think they've scored, 6 away goals all season, or 4 away goals all season, sorry, and only 2 of them have been by their own players. The other 2 have been own goals from the opposition team. I think the fact that they're just getting through just by that, they thought they were back getting a 4-1 win away at Nice, and now they come back to domestic and they can't do it. They absolutely just seem like they're cowering away, shrinking from the challenge that we are presenting them with. And Aberdeen as well are falling away. They're dropping points left and right now. So it's I think the writing's on the wall. The writing's been on the wall since the first whistle of the season was blown. When you even look at our pre-season stuff like that, we are a different fucking animal this season compared to the rest of the league. And I will make a prediction right now. Get your money on it. Gamble responsibly, people. But get your money on it now. If we hump Aberdeen, and I've got a funny feeling we might, we hump Aberdeen and we go and we beat Rangers in the Premier Sports Cup final, get your money on Celtic doing an invincible treble again. Because we're at a better point this season than we were during Brendan's first outing as Celtic manager, during his first, invincible treble. Get your money on it. Don't be doing too much now. Don't be going crazy with the betting. gamble responsibly, people. But I'm telling you right now, it's not a bad bet with the way that we're going. I think we all kind of suspected that Aberdeen would fall away. I was more thinking it would happen after Christmas, during those tough periods of games where the weather changes, you're working on it, you're in the dark, you're working on the time. It's week game, 2 a week. It's going to be a tough run of fixtures. It's happening a lot earlier than what I predicted, so I'm quite happy with that. Christmas came early for me. Aberdeen are far away, Rangers are shite, the Celtic machine keeps powering through, so I'm happy with that, and I do think we will win this league at an absolute canter, and the potential reality of an invincible treble is not as far-fetched as what some, would like it to be. So before we wrap up tonight, we'll just talk about one wee topic that there's something online, guys, and it's getting my bloody goat. It's really, really annoying me. And it's something I keep seeing pop up week in, week out, after we get a good performance, after we win. We all know how far we've came in the last calendar year. This time last season, we were getting beat off the likes of Hearts at Tynecastle. We were struggling for goals, struggling for points, struggling at the back, struggling all over the bloody shop. Rangers looked like they were going to run away with it. Fast forward the year, Celtic are an absolute juggernaut. We're sensational. We're scoring goals for fun. We're making everybody else look like divvies. The narrative now is that Celtic are not allowed to reflect on where they've came from last year to now. If you were to ask fans of opposition teams and people in the media, because of how much money we have and how much money we spend, we are not allowed to look back and say we're doing so much better than we did last year, and how refreshing is it that we're at this point this year? Well, because you have all the money anyway. You win all the time. Or you've got the cheek to make it an underdog story. Brendan Rodgers came out with some comments after the game the other night, saying how good a performance it was, saying if you look back on this time last year, what a change, what an improvement. And he's right. He's right. But fans of opposition teams, your St Mirren's, your Aberdeen's, I don't know who the fuck's put 50 pence in them this season. I know they've been all right in the league, but their fans have really been chomping at the bit to try and act and manufacture some sort of fake fucking rivalry with us to try and, make themselves seem somewhat relevant, in modern football, which, they haven't been for a fucking long time. And try to make out as if, like, we're like some sort of Man City / PSG. We're just, maybe no Man City, they're a bit shit this season, but they've got this absolute monopoly on the league, in that we're buying our success, and that we're just buying league titles and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is, as we've spent within our means, we're just very good at selling on assets. We've made profit from the money we've spent in the summer. We're not going out with our means and putting the club in jeopardy by spending money. We're not even spending that big fees in terms of modern day football. We're spending... We've just broke our transfer record this summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It took us 20 years. It took us 20 years to break the transfer record. I don't know, Liam. I don't know, mate. I don't know why people want to jump on this bandwagon that, like, Celtic are like some sort of, like, evil monster that are just buying league titles and just, our success is unfounded because we just so happen to be financially successful off the pitch and successful on it. When I personally think that it's all earned. We're not doing anything that's unfair. We're not doing anything out with, rules and regulations of football or anything like that. I don't know, mate. What do you? I just think we've ruined Scottish football, but not in a bad way. We've done it in a way that we make it, the rest of them look so tin pot because of their failings financially, on the pitch, the players they bring in, the managers, the Scottish football manager merry-go-round, which is a fucking joke. Guys like fucking Malky Mackay and that still getting jobs and stuff like that, and folk like Martindale and McInnes gets every other job under the sun, and it's the same 5 names bandied about every other day. That's why you're shit. It's not to do with us. It's because of who you invest in, it's because of who you bring in. Look at Aberdeen. I don't know why he's complaining. He's brought in a manager, went out the box, found somebody different. He's come in, he's done absolutely excellent. Granted, you're having a bit of sticky patch now, but they could have never have predicted the start they would have made to the season, beating Rangers at Pittodrie, keeping up for Celtic for as long as he did up until now, to this point in the season, being second, having a healthy gap between them and Rangers on third. That's I don't get it. I don't get it, mate.
I mean, if it wasn't for the financial disparity, it'd be, oh, your players are better than us, or your players, any of this sort of comparative bullshit that they're putting to a team is that it's bullshit. We've proved in the league that everybody has the exact same opportunity as us to do what we do. Now we've probably got a bit of advantage geographically, we do, but so does Edinburgh. Edinburgh has that, and Aberdeen has that as well. It's comparative, and with good management. And I don't think Celtic's that well run. If you take Celtic out of that league and then put them against even North American teams right now that have been in existence for a dozen years, they're showing that there is a model out there for teams to make money. And those teams that are complaining, like Aberdeen or whoever it was, like St Johnstone and all that, you're in the same league as us. So you have the opportunity to make money off of their brand and Rangers' brand and Aberdeen's. Those are big teams that have clout worldwide. They've all won European trophies, Dundee. This is teams that, you should be figuring out how to work your game. Instead of having these petty regional, wee differences and all that, with small team sort of agricultural mentality that, this is a community club, this and that. It's like, no, you're on a brand that's on a major level in the world, and you get an opportunity to play against an iconic brand like Celtic, which is without a doubt one of the top 10 football brands in the world. How can you not make money from that? You're not going to make money by shutting your seats and not selling tickets and not delivering an experience to those away fans. You're not going to do it that way. You're not going to get people want to come from abroad to sample some of that culture because they see something as well that you found a way to get bums on seats or create an atmosphere that's beneficial to your team. I've seen countless teams in North America do it in the last 10 years. And they've been able to sell tickets to people with absolutely no problem with or no identity with football or that it was something that their kids played, and ran into loads of people that became really big fans, and they all support the club, and all their clubs are doing really well financially. And so come on, Scotland, you've only had 150 years head start. So we invented the game. We should be at the forefront of how we market the game, how we deliver the experience. And for some reason, Scotland is badly behind. I mean, you look at the amount of influence we've had on the entertainment industry, both in music and arts and more particular film and marketing and that sort of stuff. So many of these, studio minds in, LA and Toronto and people are all run by Scottish guys. And where's that? Does that talent leave the country? Come on, I'd love to see Celtic flourish and the rest of Scottish football flourish. But I think you're right. You got to get rid of the designer, the dinosaurs that run these games and these families that operates club, or at least have them hand over the reins to people with younger people that can come up through Scotland have a better idea how to create an entertaining product that can deliver. And that's both for Celtic and Scottish football.
Oh, brilliant point. I could not have put it better myself. It does beg the question: where does this shit come from? Is it fear? Is it jealousy? Is it the inferiority complex that these teams have? Because let's be totally frank, Celtic aren't the oldest club in Scottish football. We're one of them because the ugly says the the Orcs across the city. They're only 12 years old, but we're not the oldest club in Scottish football. We did have to start somewhere. We all started off in the same even playing field. We earned our success. We earned our financial stability. We earned it. We didn't go out, in the way and go absolutely tonto. The club was set up as a charitable organisation. We weren't set up to be, a monopoly on Scottish football. We were set up to feed the poor and the hungry and the Irish immigrants in the East End of Glasgow.
Mhm.
That's what we're set up for. We were set up to give people a cause and give people a better life. We weren't set up to win as many Scottish titles as possible and, take the game, by the scruff of the neck and get it right around these bastards. No, we were set up for a wholesome purpose to help people. It just so happens that we were that good at football, we were that well supported, we were that successful over the years that money soon followed. I'm going to ask you the question because, me being one of the youngest members of the bus, despite the fact I look about 45, was this kind of narrative going on during the 90s when Rangers had a monopoly on Scottish football? Were people asking, it's all well and good, usually and Everton ways are spending crazy fucking money. And when you look back at it, Rangers weren't just spending crazy money for Scottish football, which you could maybe label as Celtic, fair enough. Rangers were spending crazy money in world football. They had, what was it, one of the highest wage bills in Britain for football in the 90s. They were paying bigger wages than Premier League clubs, which is absolutely insane. They were signing guys like Two-Guy and all that. And it's just the absolute insanity of that club and what they did in terms of trying to win all these titles and that. And that's what sank them in the end. But was this the same narrative getting spun then by people in the media, mate, or by fans or people you spoke to back in the day, mate? Were they asking the question back then, or is this a new thing? Because they weren't asking the question last season, by the way, when Celtic were struggling, when Celtic were doing shit in Europe, when they were doing shit domestically and we could hardly fucking win a game, and when Rangers were looking they were going to run away with it, I can't. They didn't ask the question last season saying, oh, well done, Rangers spending all this money to win the league title. Well, it looked like they were going to go and do it. The tweets and the articles weren't coming out then. So were they coming out in the 90s, mate?
I remember going to a barbecue in the 90s when it was just at the beginning of summer and Rangers was an absolute onslaught and we were nowhere near it, Conor, at that point, and there was no sort of hope. I think it was the season going into 9 in a row. And I remember talking to this guy and I was starting to think, it was like, well, wait a minute, it's like we've got nothing compared to you right now. I was looking at the players that were throwing in money. And I think this is the time where they're bringing on guys like Gattuso and all that. So the Dick Advocaat, the EBT years. And yeah, you could feel that sort of thing. But I never, ever felt the only person that was holding us back was Celtic at that point. And I think we knew that. But also the point, we had a glimmer as well. We had the Bonnet at that time that had sort of come in. And so was a lot of people could see a sort of bigger picture that Celtic was at least trying to do something. The fact that these guys are complaining, we didn't deny selling tickets to opposition fans. We shot ourselves in the foot, but we didn't cut off both feet, It's like we were pragmatic in a sense. But we didn't have the money to spend, but we knew that we were building a bigger picture and that would just sort of hopefully build up resilience to the way we are right now. And I think these other Scottish teams, again, be creative. You've got the same exact opportunity to us. You get the same audience and you get to benefit from our global exposure. So suck it up, start using it. That's what we did during the 90s. We knew our day would come. Chuck it Allah.
That's his band now. It's all right, mate. I've said much worse. I've said much worse on this podcast. Don't worry, that's all right. Anyway, guys, we're gonna love yous and leave yous, but before we go, just to be a reminder, you can like, share, subscribe. You can become a Bhoycie Bus member for $1.99 if you so wish to choose to do so, and you can also use the code BUS1888 and use it up in the corner there for the website piesports.com, who are our sponsors for tonight. Use the code BUS1888 in the checkout if you want money off your order. Liam, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've had a lovely time sitting chatting with you.
It's been a while.
About Celtic. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've done it live, to be honest. I've been so busy and so all over the place, but it's been good, mate. I've enjoyed it. Miss, your words of wisdom. A few pearls there that I'll take with me for the rest of my days, I'm sure. But anyway, we'll finish up the night, guys. Have a good one. and hopefully with a big win on Wednesday and seal this fucking league title in the bag. See you later. Come on, the Hoops.